Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko number P88. This is a roll of black silicone seal, adhesive-backed silicone seal that is used on fire and smoke gasketed openings. And it does have a special feature to it that makes it less common than the garden variety material, which means that it is perforated, and it's perforated so that it will not take very much effort to break it. Okay, so this it's not that it's indistinguishable, but you don't notice it when the material, you really don't notice it when the material's installed. You can see evidence of what they've done on the back adhesive tape. And what they've done is they've poked these micro holes into it, really, so that if you pull on it, it's going to break pretty easily. I don't have any left over to demonstrate that, but the perforation, the concept of it breaking easy, is intended for ligature resistance, behavioral health, any sort of application where there could be the risk of someone using it to harm themselves or others, is why it's perforated. And of course, this would be considered a sister product to the typical S88BL. They're both a silicone material, but they've got the letter P in lieu of S to indicate perforation. Okay, there is an image or a drawing down below showing where the factory perforates this material. So if you're interested to know where those locations are, that's provided. Okay. Now, let's take a look at it. This material, the P88BL, is available in a variety of roll lengths. Obviously, 17 foot, that would be good for a 7 foot, 3 foot by, a 3 foot by 7 foot door. 7 plus 3 plus 7 is 17 feet. 18 foot roll, 20 foot roll, 21, 25, 30, 204 and 510 foot rolls. The BL in the part number, that certainly stands for black. Let's see what other finishes they offer. D for dark bronze, GR for gray, W for white. All the same roll lengths are there. There's a cut sheet. There are installation instructions that are listed here, and they are linked to down below this video. So I will point out the installation instructions are part of the packaging. There is also an alcohol pad wipe that's here, and that's intended to get the surface area of whatever you are applying to completely clean and free of dust and debris. Okay, frame cleaner. There's also a label that you would apply to the opening to attest this material's compliance with fire and smoke gasket requirements. Let's switch to the screen view so we can take a look at the extended description and the supporting documentation. So this is the item that we are looking at here. Okay, we have some extended description. This is a 17-foot black finish roll. Perforation option of the common S88 adhesive gasket product. The perforations are 0.35 inch and allow the gasket to be pulled apart with very low force, thus deterring use with malintent. Silicone seal extruded from high temperature silicone. It has an incredibly wide operating range, as you can see. Seal begins compressing at a 1/4 inch and will go up to a 1/16 of an inch, and I can attest, and I'll show you when you pinch this material closed, it will close down to a very small margin, and a 1/16 of an inch is accurate. Self-extinguishing, non-toxic, unaffected by sunlight, ozone, and ultraviolet, impervious to fungus and mildew, and will not deteriorate under normal exposure. Shelf life. Don't buy this material unless you're going to use it. It's only meant to be on the shelf for about 6 months. Before installing, thoroughly clean the frame to remove grease, dust, or cleanser. So important that that alcohol pad is included with the product. Before installation, wait for the frame surface to completely dry after you've cleaned it. Some hospital environments have wax or antibacterial cleanser buildup. As an alternative or substitute cleanser, isopropyl alcohol can be used. Mineral spirits or other things like that should not be used because it's gonna strip your finish off. Here's the explanation of what they were showing you in terms of where these perforations are. They're tiny, tiny puncture holes. No idea what size they are. They're all but indistinguishable, but they're on this sort of center to center all the way down. Now here are the supporting documentations right here. Let's first take a look at the cut sheet that's here. Okay, so you'll take note of, didn't see tan listed as an available finish. And we will investigate whether or not tan is available. The roll lengths we've discussed. I'll check the tan while we're here talking on camera. We'll go over those dimensional properties, which are 1/4 by 1/2, down to a 1/16. Take note of where they're asking that you install the material. It always goes on the rabbet in all of these instances. However, as an alternative, at the hinge and the strike, you can apply it to the face of the stop. I'll generally see well, they're saying the hinge, strike, and header. You can apply it to the face of the stop. I would probably, if you were going to install this alternatively from how they're recommending it, I would probably always use the rabbet for the hinge, and then I would probably use the face of the stop for the header and the strike jamb, because it's just more conducive with how the door is moving. I don't want any sort of pressure this way on the material working to compromise the adhesive that might be in here. Okay, I don't want to push against that. I would rather just compress the face like it does normally on the hinge side. So let's switch over to the installation instructions, and I've pulled up the factory's current price list. They do not list tan, so tan is not available. Installation instructions, and again, these are on the back of your packaging, showing you in detail where to apply the material. We talked about the alternative method of where to locate it. This is the S88 material, so the installation instructions will apply for either. Perforated or non-perforated. And I've checked the Pemko website. There are no installation instructions for specifically the P88, but again, the installation will be the same. Pages 1 and 2 show you where to go about putting it. That's fine. Shows you the ratings on page 2 here. Acoustical energy, draft control, smoke control, fire control, UL10C control. The most important thing when it comes to installing this material is that your frame is utterly clean and thoroughly free of all dust and debris. If it's not, the installation is going to fail. If it's the first time you're doing this, thoroughly clean the frame, and once you think you've got it clean, I suggest you clean it one more time. After that, it's just kind of following instructions, but after you do the first one, you'll kind of realize what works and what doesn't work. The first time I installed this material, what I found was peeling away 24-inch of the paper backing at a time was too much, because I was tempted to stretch the material. And when you're stretching the material with this perforated material, you could break it. And you'll stretch it, apply it, then it will resume its natural point of elasticity and possibly break the adhesive that's there. So let's go over it. We talked about don't storing it. Before installing, thoroughly clean the frame with the enclosed material. We talked about cleaning it, same paragraph. Don't install it cooler than 50 or hotter than 100. Otherwise, the adhesive, as it's been engineered and designed, may not work. When to install. Installation should take place after construction is completed, floors are in, and the final cleaning has been done. Paint on the frame must be cured for at least a week. Paint cannot be wet under the dry surface when gaskets are pressed on. Avoid quick dry primers, which leave a powdery surface, preventing sufficient adhesion. When applying to a wood frame, basically scuff it up a little bit. Clean that debris off. Give yourself some additional surface area to attach it to, and you should find success. Don't stretch the material. The product will retract and shrink if it's stretched, breaking the adhesive. The first time I did one, that's what I did. And naturally, I came back an hour later, and it was detached in several places. And I was shocked, because I did a good job cleaning it. Well, I realized the difference between doing a good job and doing the correct job. Don't stretch the material when using a seam roller. That's certainly going to stretch it. Double check after 2 or 3 hours or before leaving the job for overnight. If the gasket separates on the frame, press it again with firm pressure in place. And you don't want the adhesive strip exposed because particulate will attach to it. Application at the header can be awkward, so be sure to not stretch it, and lots of firm pressure. Okay. Now, what they'll tell you here is to measure and cut the material to length so that when you install it, if you have a little bit left over, you know you've stretched it. Be mindful of how you're installing it. You might be able to do a better job by cutting the material at a 45-degree angle so that it will work very well on those inside corners. Okay, so if this is the hinge style, you would apply it to the rabbet, but then it might go to the face of the stop here, so you wouldn't be cutting it on a 45 at that point. You'd be butting it. But nonetheless, do the best job that you can with making that material come together as cleanly and as indetectably, I suppose, as possible. Remove 24-inch of gasketing. I found closer to 12-inch worked better for me. The difficult thing with rushing and doing this is that your frame is just simply full of straight lines, so you'll see a wavy sort of installation here if you are applying it quickly and not patiently, and because you'll see it literally curved and not installed very well. Position the gasketing as illustrated. Use a hand roller, highly recommended. I don't. I find that may stretch the material. Just lots of patient pressure. Now, switching back to the camera view, that's our material there. And we can take a look and see that it's 1/2 inch. Yeah, 1/4 inch. When I compress that down, I don't really need my caliper to know that it will compress down really small. The advantage of that is a inspection, a fire door inspection, pulling away a small amount of that adhesive is going, depending on the door composition, let's say it's a wood door, steel frame, a wood door, the maximum gap that you can have between the strike jamb in the door and the hinge jamb in the door is 1/8 of an inch. You can't have any more than that. So you really don't have any room to get smoke and draft control gasketing on the rabbet. And that makes this material really nice because it will compress down so small. That adhesive, while it's certainly quite strong, keep in mind, you're going to want that frame to be super clean. Now, what does my caliper say when we do compress it? Yeah, you'll certainly get it below 50 thousandths. About 45 thousandths when I just put it on there and just rotate my caliper. About 45 thousandths, so less than 1/16 of an inch. Yeah, very all but indetectable. You can kind of see little dots there, and those are the perforations. Again, hospital applications, certainly behavioral health, any area where you need that material to fail by design, because no one's ever going to touch it or pull on it unless you meant to pull it off, and it will probably break apart as you're pulling it off the adhesive anyway, would be my guess. I've never removed it, but I have in some other video pulled the perforated ligature-resistant material from Pemko, and I was quite surprised how easily it came apart. Not that it's good; it will never fall apart on you. It doesn't take much to pull it apart, that's for sure. So the there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Pemko products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. The name Pemko is synonymous with many things in the greater world of weather stripping: door sweeps, thresholds, perimeter gasketing, materials that applies to just sealing a door from the cold, all the way up to fire and smoke gasketing, and even material that will be compliant with behavioral health applications. They do a good business when it comes to sliding door hardware, track and hangers, things of that nature. They have continuous hinges. They have metal vision frames. They have other hardware. That link below this video to the product catalog will allow you to scroll through and see all things Pemko. No other manufacturer offers the breadth and diversity of a single product line from a single manufacturer as Pemko does. So if you're looking for the majority of solutions, they'll have it. If you're looking for some highly specialty applications, they may not. But they do get into SDC rated material and things of that nature. Any questions on the P88 in a BL finish or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.